Hello, my friends. Today, the fighting along the front line continues, and the occupiers are not backing down. Let's start with the Kharkiv direction. Shelling of the village of Lyptsi is ongoing here. As always, what the Russians cannot quickly capture, they destroy with shelling, which is exactly what we are seeing on this part of the front today. In Vovchansk, the battles continue. The Russians today are trying to justify themselves and are talking about how the Ukrainian forces attempted counterattacks but didn't achieve success. Although last week we saw how the Ukrainian forces successfully liberated part of Vovchansk and around 200 Russian troops remain trapped at the plant, likely not all alive anymore. The Russians are still trying to break through, but the Ukrainian forces are successfully holding the defense and destroying the advancing groups. Therefore, the Russians have a complete failure here. Also, I reiterate, part of their plan has worked. The Ukrainian forces had to deploy a large number of reserves to maintain the defense on this front. These reserves could have been used on other fronts. Overall, this situation is difficult for both sides and heavy fighting continues. In the Pokrovsk direction, uh, this situation is critically complex. The Russians are intensifying their attacks on the positions of the Ukrainian forces to achieve new gains here. While there is some progress, it's minimal. Over the past day, more than 30 assaults have been recorded, with the main battles continuing near Novooleksandrivka and Kalynivka. Their main objective in this area is to cut off the highway. There is also a significant number of both shelling and offensive actions towards Novooleksandrivka. They are attempting to break through to Yevhenivka, Sokil, and Novoselivka Persha, as well as launching attacks from Umansk across the field to gain as much territory as possible to the water barrier. This situation is extremely difficult, but there have been no new changes along the front line reported over the past day. In the direction of Kurakhove, the occupiers have also become significantly more active. Such a high activity of offensive actions hasn't been seen here for a long time, and they are breaking through to the northern part of Krasnohorivka, attempting to secure their positions. But the Ukrainian forces are doing everything possible to hold the defense. Battles are also ongoing near Georgievka and, of course, in Paraskoviivka, where half of the village is already under Russian control. Attempts to break through to the outskirts of Kostiantynivka continue. However, there have been no changes along the front line over the past day. The Ukrainian forces are doing everything possible to hold the defense. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers continue their relentless attacks on the village of Vadiane. Fierce battles are also taking place near Staromayorsk and Urozhaine. The situation is challenging as the occupiers are heavily shelling already devastated villages, trying to break through and establish a foothold. However, the Ukrainian forces are successfully using drones to destroy the advancing occupiers, and the front line hasn't changed over the past day. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, attacks near Robotine and Malotokmachka continue, but the activity level here is lower. There are only a few attacks per day, and the front line has remained unchanged over the past day. In the Kherson direction, the occupiers continue their attempts to push the Ukrainian forces out of the left bank, but as before, they have no success. Our units continue to hold the bridgehead on the left bank, although it's very difficult to do so. Shelling of Kherson also continues, but overall, the situation remains unchanged. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the occupiers are continuing their attempts to break through to the Novy microdistrict. Today, a large number of reserves have been thrown in to stretch the flank around Chasiv Yar. Therefore, battles are ongoing near Ivanivske and Andriivka, but as before, Russia has no success and the front line remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, there are ongoing battles near Verkhnyo-Kamensk and attacks on Rozdolivka have resumed also. However, there have been no new advancements by the Russians over the past day. In other settlements, all attacks have ceased and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kreminna direction, the occupiers have decreased their activity with attacks now only occurring near Nevsky. In the forested area, all the attacks ended with the Ukrainian armed forces conducting a counterattack and pushing them back by 1 kilometer. But we need to wait for official statements, but it seems that the Russians have had no success here either. In the Svatove direction, fighting is ongoing for Berestove. Russian forces have closely approached the village, causing a significant deterioration in the situation. And similarly to the south, battles are taking place near Kharkivka, Druzhelyubivka, and the village of Makiyivka. However, the Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all attacks, and there have been no changes on the front line. In the Kupiansk direction, the occupiers also continue their attacks, and today they are attempting to break through near Stepovanovo-Selivka. Fighting has also resumed for Sinkivka. Meanwhile, all fighting near Petropavlivka and Pishane has ceased, and there have been no changes on the front line over the past day. Additionally, it was reported last night that in the Rostov region there were problems with electricity after explosions, but the cause of the explosion is not specified. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.